Hi everyone, welcome to this new episode of Asian Business Owners. I'm Carmen, and today we're going to talk about influence, visibility, and building personal branding. I'm with someone who knows this well. My guest today is Jessie Li. She has built a community of more than 500,000 followers on Instagram. She's known for her work in lifestyle and luxury and fashion content, and now as the founder of Relief X, a company bridging wellness and technology. So from showing up online to transforming her influence into a business, into a platform of entrepreneurship, Jessie has a story of confidence, authenticity, and evolution. Hello, Jessie.
Hi, Carmen. Thanks for having me here today.
I'm glad to have you. How are you?
I am good.
Let's start straight in. I have a kind of a broad question for you.
Okay.
What you're doing is very different from, other entrepreneurs, and I think you're an entrepreneur and also what we call like an influencer or KOL, let's say. I mentioned that you have more than 500,000 followers on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So can you take us back to how this all started?
Sure. So I actually worked in finance for a decade. And my last job was in equity research in oil and gas, energy, and renewables. As many of your audience might know, equity research have really, really long hours. I used to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to work, and I finish somewhere after 8, or sometimes I have to go across the whole night, and so the burnout was bad. Yeah. So one day I was waking up, I was like, what is the purpose of me waking up and go to work? Obviously, money can't be the drive. So after seeing a psychologist for 6 months with the dragged on burnout, I decided to leave without any backup plan. So wow. I took time off, I went traveling, and during my travel times, I asked myself, what is my passion? So I jogged down a list, and the top 3 were fashion, travel, and inspire other people. And as I was traveling, my Instagram was growing really fast from my travel content. And a friend of mine was, she advised me that you should use hashtags. And I was like, what is hashtags?
When was that?
That was 2017. So hashtag was still getting somewhere. So I used the very cliche ones like hashtag Hong Kong, hashtag 852. And just by doing so, PR agencies discovered me quite easily. I was invited to attend events. And from there, I think it was only 3 months in, I was getting invited to participate a campaign for Tom for Beauty. And from there, because other PR agencies often camped on the campaign hashtags, they were clicking and see who else is posting for that particular campaign. So I got discovered from there. I didn't know influencing was a career back then.
Okay, so if we just pause a little bit. Mm-hmm. So you had this introspection, let's say. Mm-hmm. After finance, you were like, okay, what should I do? So you traveled to kind of empty your mind and think about what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then you started slowly. But how did you start from, when you started posting on Instagram mm-hmm. to when you had this PR agency that reached out to you? Mm-hmm. You told me it took 3 months, but how so fast? Like what? What was special about what you were posting? Because I knew that it was kind of the beginning of Instagram influencers, but also many people were already, I guess, sharing content out there, right?
There was not that many.
Okay.
And also, I think travel content really attracts audience back then. I had quality travel content, but till I got invited by Tom Ford, I still didn't know that was a career. I was just posting for fun. There was no direction, no strategy whatsoever.
Okay.
So I think the Tom Ford campaign was kind of my pivot point. And that was the point I was like, okay, maybe there is something there. Maybe this could turn into
a career.
I didn't really think about
side
I didn't yeah
gig.
so I was thinking about that as a side gig. So when Tom Ford campaign happened, so my business mind kicked in. I was like, okay, so if I turn this into a business, what would be my strategy? What would be my niche? What would be my direction? What would be my personal branding? So I had a brainstorm of what I want to focus on in terms of building my personal brand. And I always knew I wanted to post in the luxury fashion, beauty, and lifestyle. And so I only accept a campaign that aligns with my personal branding rather than posting it. Rather than accepting every job that comes my way. I think a common mistake a lot of the influencers made was at the beginning, they say too many yeses. In the end, their branding becomes a bit unfocused because they said yes across so many different variety of brands.
And how did you learn because these are marketing skills. How did you learn that?
I think having an investment banking background really helped. I didn't have a marketing background, but it was kind of common sense. When you do your pitching, you know your client, you do a market research, you see where you're standing in the market, and you study the competitive market. And every time you pitch to a client, you work with a brand. You understand the brand essence of that brand, what's their brand message, what kind of audience, what is their ideal customer audience. Knowing their audience really helps me with the content creation direction.
Okay. So you mentioned that Tom Ford Beauty campaign. Can you tell us more about that? Like, how did you feel and what did you do, how it happened?
I actually had a professional photographer to shoot me. I think it was for Tom Ford, the boys and girls lipstick. They have those miniature ones, and each miniature is dedicated to a boy's name or a girl's name. So it could be like Ben or Thomas. And I think, but what I remember the most was I did it so well. They came back for another campaign. It was for their perfume. They had a big launch called, am I allowed to say the F word? So it's actually called F Fabulous. And but in Asia they have to dab the F part, so it's just called Fabulous. So what went through my mind was like, okay, a lot of influencers, when they create posts, they are pretty and they have the products next to them. It is very engaging when it comes to the audience, but it doesn't necessarily help the brand to convert, because ultimately you are not selling yourself, you're selling the products. You want to post something that help the audience to engage, so they will feel like they want to purchase this particular product. So what went through my mind was like, what would tell a really good story that when someone sprayed on Fabulous perfume, F Fabulous.
You're allowed to say it. It's fine.
Is it? So it's actually called fucking Fabulous. So when somebody spray on this fucking Fabulous, what kind of night would they have? How would they feel? So I brainstorm that and I recreate a story that to sell on Instagram. So I had a room with Four Seasons, and I staged in the room that how a person would feel and go through when they spray on. You will have a really fabulous night. You go out and have fun, and then you come back, you have more fun. And then what I staged was the aftermath of a fun night. So in the bathroom, I had a newspaper, laundry, high heels, lipstick, perfume, champagne bottles, and everything lying around. And I just recreate a fun night. The aftermath of a fun night would be like when you spray on the fucking Fabulous.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Super cool. I love that.
So by doing so, when people look at it, they'll be like, wow, that's what I like, to have a fun night. I want to spray this. I want to have a fun night like this.
Okay. Yeah. You build the storytelling behind it and not just the product, I guess. Yeah. It was like a side gig for you. So at what point did you realize that this was actually something you could consider as a career?
From there, I had other business. So this was never really my main focus as a career.
What businesses did you have?
So it was very fun to do this at the beginning. I was going.
This was after your trip?
That was after my trip. And in 2018, I was pretty much going this with full speed. I traveled everywhere with the brand. I think I was in Paris with Lancôme when they did a launch with the Genifique, the little black bottle. I pitched myself to benefit for a campaign that I created for myself, reverse pitching. I went to Tomorrowland and I pitched them how I can present the brand.
But how do you do that? I mean, how do you contact them and pitch your story to them?
Well, it's all from, my banking background. I was very good at pitching. Basically, first of all, when it comes to pitching, I never did cold emailing. It's always through my existing network. Okay. And when you pitch, you need to make people to feel it's not a business transaction. So it really helps when you really develop a relationship with the brand, spend time with them, get to know them as a person, having regular catch-ups, have dinner, have coffee catch-ups. And when I was pitching, I kind of softly dropped, say, hey, I'm going to Tomorrowland, but I think it would be really fit with your brand if I can take the products and create how amazing the makeup is to wearable. I can go from morning to night, and the makeup doesn't melt with the extreme weather. It gets quite extreme there. It's extremely hot or extremely cold. Okay. You can never forecast. And softly ask them, would this be something you will be interested in? So those are my proposed deliverables. And is this something in line with you? So you can reverse pitching step by step. Okay,
so before pitching, you're actually nurturing the relationship.
This is an ongoing thing.
Okay.
So it's not that I targeted nurturing the relationship just for that particular campaign. It's an ongoing thing because coming from banking, you're always maintaining the relationship. You're always out there to network. So you're always there to collect contacts. So then you build friends, relationship connections with industry peers.
So you told me that you had businesses on the side at that moment?
Yes. Let me take one step back. So on top of what you have introduced, I also have a charity in Australia called Inspiring Girls Australia. It's a global organization. Hong Kong has a chapter. I started the chapter in Australia. And during COVID, I also started in longevity supplement, which is focused on in 80+. And Relief X is my third business. And I am also in the process of writing a book, which I have pitched Penguin, and Penguin will be publishing it.
Okay, so you had this. How come did you start this working with this charity? I mean, because after all of this, and you discovered a little bit about influencer marketing and stuff, you really reframed your mind to be an entrepreneur, or how did this happen?
I think that needs to go back to our authentic self. So every step of the journey, every business I've started is literally I just followed my heart, and my heart took me to those places. Okay. So my heart first led me to social media, and because of my passion towards travel, fashion, and inspire other people. And as I was an influencer, I got invited by Inspiring Girls to become one of their role models, to share my journey, went from banking to influencer. And the girls asked me a lot of questions on this journey. Then I was like, wow, this is amazing. How come we don't have that in Australia? So I emailed the HQ and proposed to them I want to start a new chapter in Australia. So it started from there. And having a career, to build careers around our passion is fun, but it's not sustainable. It is very important to know what is our purpose so we can drive for the long-term motivation. So first, we have our passion. We ask ourselves, what are we interested? Then we have a look, what are we good at? Then we think about, what can I do to be paid that I'm good at but aligns with my passion? But the ultimate one is where your purpose meets other people's needs. So where all the four circles connect is where you find your purpose. So as I was going through that, I was searching for my purpose, and that's how the other business were born.
Okay. Yeah, and as we said, it's good to not to have your eggs in the same basket. So you had different income streams, let's say.
Yeah. And on top of that, I invest as well.
Okay.
I invest in real estate. I invest in startup companies, and I invest in cryptos. So basically, I have a lot of baskets.
Okay. And when you started growing a lot on social media, then how did you navigate people's perception of you? Were you afraid of judgment or critics? Because it can be daunting to put yourself out there. You're visible, so we see that people can be super harsh online, and it can be a real struggle. How do you navigate that?
It comes quite easy for me when I was just being my authentic self. So every post I do aligns with my real self. So basically, I was just sharing my most authentic self to my audience. To be honest, I've never really had any negative comments on social media, but I don't post anything to do with politics by just focusing on being my authentic self. I've built a large following that's
friendly.
Even though I'm involved in so many different silos and I wear so many different hats, and people love following my journey because I'm just sharing my most authentic self.
Okay. I have a few very quick questions, like this or that question for you.
Sure.
It's very quick, you'll see. Freedom or security?
Freedom.
Intuition or structure?
Intuition.
Create or refine?
Create.
Change or stability?
Change.
Fast pace or slow growth?
Fast pace.
Alone time or teamwork?
A bit of both. Depends on the nature of the business.
Okay. Well, what's your main business, by the way? What's the thing through which you earn the most part of your income?
I would rather think how I spend my time. So to be honest, every month I spend my time differently, depends on the milestones and the projects of the company. Basically, it's spread across the startup, the charity, influencing. I still spend some hours on DJ. Right now, my biggest chunk of the time is spending on finishing my book. Okay. I'm submitting my manuscript in February next year. So that's my main focus for now.
Okay. When is it going to be published? Do you know?
So it's signed by Penguin. It will be published by February 2027.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we still have a bit of time. Okay.
Yeah.
Exciting. And so can you tell us a bit more about how you started Relief X? It's the last business that you started, right?
Correct. Basically, it was through my own pain. When I was working in banking, I've accumulated a lot of chronic neck pain, back pain. My back pain was pretty bad. And during COVID quarantine, I was flying between Melbourne and Hong Kong. And every time I have to quarantine at least like 14 to 21 days.
Because you were based in Australia before?
I grew up in Australia, but I moved to Hong Kong.
Okay.
I moved to Asia in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was traveling across between the two cities, and during one of the quarantine, my back flared up again, and the quarantine hotel had a very soft bed, and the pillow was really soft. So I was taking 3 painkillers a night, and I posted something on Instagram, and my current business partner, she responded, and she dropped off a yoga mat, a hot water bottle, and a massage ball. And through that, she was able to, through Zoom, she was able to pinpoint which muscle was causing my pain.
Okay.
And using a massage ball, she was able to direct me to release my own pain. But the idea didn't come until much later, because I was training on the Zoom with her when I was in Melbourne, and she was telling me that I was not flexing the right muscle. And I was asking, how did you know that? I'm wearing 3 layers of clothes. How can you tell I'm not flexing the right muscle? She's like, oh, it's just by posture. I'm like, how can you tell? Just from 1 or 2 minutes of reading. She's like, our body has a natural standing posture. And when we are all aligned, we don't have any pain. And when we start having pain, the muscle contracts and then start pulling. So our posture deviates from our natural posture. So by just reading the posture, she was able to pinpoint which muscle group is involved.
Okay.
So I'm like, wow, in the end, it's just math. I can just build an AI model to mimic your eye, and then we can help millions of people out there. So I did a little bit digging. 1.7 billion people actually have this condition called musculoskeletal condition. Is when they don't have enough muscle, or the muscle is too weak to support our skeletal frame. And that's about 1 in 4 people in the world. So it's a real issue.
Yeah.
So the business idea came just like that through my own journey.
So what's the product you're selling or the service you're selling through ReliefX?
So I saw the inefficiency in the market that physio is very expensive. There's no self-treatment solutions, and it's very expensive for the long-term rehab as well. So ReliefX can use the phone to give you a diagnosis just by standing in front of the phone. From there, we can connect you to online consultations. Then we give you self-treatment solutions using a massage ball. And then we help you to focus on the long-term rehab. And it's a much affordable solution.
I guess that applies to any people working in an office.
Definitely.
Basically.
Yes, people working in the office, people who train a lot, and also people with chronic pain as well.
Okay. I have another question. What would you say is the difference between personal brand and influencer marketing?
For me, it's a bit different. I actually went through this exercise myself because I wear so many different hats. To prevent myself to be too scattered,
Yes.
I have a North Star that overarching everything I do. Okay. So my North Star is I empower women across all different generations to lead authentically and age gracefully. So I am very into wellness and longevity. So my book is about female leadership. And then through my platform, I've always using my voice to empower young generation girls, women across all different generations. That's my North Star for my personal branding. But then for some people, if they're just focusing on their influencing, they can have a niche focus. For instance, if someone want to focus on just fashion or just on wellness, but for me, I have an overarching message. I want to make sure everything I do, even the company I invested in, aligns with my North Star. So my energy is focused.
So you would say that personal brand, from what you said, is more related to your purpose and what you want to achieve?
My North Star is related to my purpose.
Okay.
And how I want to achieve and what I can offer to other people.
Yeah, and your values, all of this. And influence would be more business, the business part of it?
For the influencing side, when they look at Carmen, how would people think about, how would they use 1 or 2, 3 words to describe your personal brand? So I think for me, if you put Jessie in front of other brands, they will be like, okay, she is luxury fashion, luxury lifestyle wellness. So that's how they define me. So that's my personal branding for influencing.
Okay.
And then for business side, I have a North Star that overarch with it.
And okay, this is something that I get from a lot of my clients. People struggle to show their face online. Mm-hmm. They are afraid of the posture, of what they're going to say, of if the content that they are sharing is interesting to people. With this podcast, I just show myself online, and also I share content on LinkedIn and Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I would say I overcame this fear because to me, once you're in it, you don't really care about all the details. You're just doing it, and it feels, as you said, authentic. What would you tell people who are afraid of showing up online?
I think my biggest advice is our biggest hurdle is ourselves. Yeah. And we are overthinking how other people think about us. People really don't overthink. Yeah. We overthink. We magnify that by 1,000 times.
Sure.
So we need to get comfortable with our own skin. Once you're comfortable with yourself, everything else just comes along.
Yeah. And do you have like practical tips for them to, if they want to record themselves, like now, and share even a story on Instagram, showing their face? What would you advise them to do?
Okay, I think a lot of people, they will be shy, and even if they record it, they will be too scared to watch it themselves, right?
Yeah.
So if you are not willing to watch yourself, why you expect other people to watch you? So my advice will be record it, watch it 100 times. When you are so comfortable with that, then you won't be too shy to share in front of the public platforms.
Yeah, I guess I agree. The number of episodes that I had to edit myself and I had to listen to my voice and see my face wasn't easy, but at some point I was like, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
So then,
it's a self journey.
Yes.
It's a self journey. Yeah. So we need to get comfortable in front of ourselves.
Yes.
Then everything else comes along.
Absolutely. It is a journey. And can you tell me about moments throughout your journey as influencer, entrepreneur, where you felt maybe imposter syndrome or where you doubted yourself or your decisions?
Not really, because I believe every part of the journey made who I am, and I really treasure this whole entire journey. I don't think I've ever doubted myself.
Really? I would say imposter syndrome is a bit different from doubting. It's more like, you know, when, for example, when I started the very first episode, I was like, who am I to have a podcast? You know, have you ever felt that?
Not really, because when I started sharing, I didn't think myself as an influencer. I just think about a girl who wants to share my journey. I want to share my travel journey. I want to share my lifestyle journey. When you're coming from a place that you are just sharing the most authentic self, I don't think you question yourself, because I'm just being myself. I'm not being somebody else that I had portrayed in my head. So
yeah, I get it.
So I didn't have this imposter syndrome. Talking
about authenticity in the world of fashion and luxury, we know that it can be tough sometimes.
Yes.
So how do you stay grounded and how do you stay authentic, knowing that luxury doesn't always mean authentic, right?
Yes. I think I draw my boundaries, and especially when it comes to energy, and don't take things too personally.
Okay.
For instance, when you go Fashion Week, sometimes people might question, oh, why am I not sitting front row? They feel offended when the brand don't put them on the front row. But I don't take that personally. Sometimes sales in Asia might not be the best for that brand. So then the whole Asia region don't get any front row seat.
Okay.
So there's nothing personal in this business. Just take things lightheartedly and treat it as in the professional way. When I work with luxury fashion, also I work with the brand that aligns with my personal branding. So in that way, I can make sure I stay true to myself and stay authentic.
Yeah, okay. The Fashion Week in Paris was recently,
Yes.
last month. How did
Yeah.
it go? Pretty
It-
hectic, right?
The schedules can be very hectic. Nowadays, I've learned not to pack my day too full and not to say too many yeses. Because
Yes.
when I am really rushing, you don't actually get to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And the whole thing become a chore, then you really get to enjoy the journey.
Yeah. With all the businesses you have, you seem to have a very busy schedule. How do you take care of your mental health?
I always schedule in my downtime. So a lot of people, they take time off when they feel burnout. So that is recovery. That is, you are responding to the burnout. But if you schedule in your downtime, that is actually relaxation time. So I make sure I block time off on my calendar that I take a bath, I read, I meditate. Most of the mornings, when I wake up, I don't switch off my
Airplane mode?
airplane mode. I would meditate, journal, and sometimes I do my stretching exercises, and then I switch it off. Then I allow messages and emails to come in.
Okay, okay. And I saw you at Revive
Yes.
recently. This is also, so IV, for the people who don't know, Revive is a IV drip clinic, and you use that as well to feel better and for also physical health, right?
Correct. I normally go before my long flights and after I land back from a hectic trip. And it helps with jet lags and boosts up my immune system. So I don't get sick after I come back from long trips.
Well, I have one more question for you, Jessie. I know you have different hats. I'm talking to the business owner.
Okay.
Do you have any lessons that you would like to share with our listeners, with other business owners?
Yeah, I think a burning question a lot of the business owners have is on the marketing side. Coming from being on the other side and it's influencer, they probably want to know what is the best way to invest in their marketing budget and how would they select influencers to work with and what kind of marketing channel is efficient for their return on investment. I think that would be something they will be interested in. So first of all, depends on the nature of the business. They need to think about their marketing funnel. Some business might be better offline. For instance, for Relief X, I won't spend so much budget on social media platform because it's something that people need to try to feel, to really see in person, to see the results.
Yeah.
And just by telling someone, say, hey, my ball can fix your chronic pain, no one's gonna believe it on Instagram. So my main focus is the offline market. So really, they really need to think about who is their ideal customer profile, and then they can decide which marketing channel to use. And in terms of selecting influencers, a common mistake a lot of business make is they always go for the ones with a lot of followings. That's a common mistake. It is very important to select someone that has a very niche focus. When someone has a big following, but they are very spread out, they have a low conversion rate because their followers might come from many, many different interest. So their conversion rate is not so high. So it's not so great for the business owner's return on investment. So pick someone who is really niche in that particular market, even though their followers are their following is smaller, but the conversion rate will be a lot higher.
Okay, so that was your advice to the listeners. And now, what's the thing that you learned for yourself since you quit banking?
I used to be a hustler. I used to pack my day so full.
I'm not surprised.
And I want to achieve so many things. I think the biggest lesson I've learned is life is a journey. I have the rest of my life to do all the things I want to do. I don't have to pack everything in the next 1 or 2 years.
Okay.
So I don't stretch myself too thin.
Okay. That's a good way to see it. Thank you so much, Jessie.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for sharing. I hope listeners will be inspired by your story.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Thanks.